Things that you should never say to your real estate agent when selling your home. Hey, what's up guys? Clayton Getz here. Welcome to The Real RVA. And today we're going to talk about the things that you should never ever say to a real estate agent when you're meeting them for the first time, you're thinking about selling your home, a listing presentation. And so number one is, hey, I'm just testing the market. So I get it. You know, and I've heard this many times. I mean, I've been selling real estate here in Richmond for 21 years now, and I've heard just about everything. I've certainly heard that before. And the reason you don't want to say to your agent, "I'm just testing the market," is because you don't want you want your agent to 100% go to work for you and go all in. Now, I will tell you that, and you know, if you have any experience, if you've sold more than one house, you know that not every real estate agent is the same. And what that means is not every real estate agent is going to spend thousands and thousands of dollars on marketing your home. But if you tell your agent that, you know, I'm really not that serious, I just want to like dip my toes in and see what happens, then your agent might just dip their toes in, right? You want your agent doing everything that the way that they normally would, spending all the money that they would normally spend, and being as serious as you are about selling your home. So I'm just testing the market is probably something, even if you are, probably something that you should just keep to yourself. That's number one. Number two, let's list high, and then, you know, because we can always come down. You know, this is one of my favorite ones because, again, after 21 years of doing this in Central Virginia, and selling multiple of my own properties, I am very motivated to not only get the most amount of money out of our personal real estate that we own when we sell it, but also get you the most amount of money when we sell your home. But one of the quickest ways, again, over past 21 years of doing this, that we have seen that you can lose money is by listing high with the idea that you can come down later. Now, there's a caveat to this. In markets where there is an extreme lack of inventory, which we have experienced over the past couple of years, you can get away with listing high, but there's a ceiling. There's always a ceiling to how high you can list. And there's also strategy, like working with someone that has a good strategy and it knows the market and knows where your house is, knows the kind of demand or lack of demand that particular neighborhood might be experiencing right now for whatever reason. A good example is Justin Verlander's house that sold last year was listed for just under $2 million. Everybody knew that house was everybody knew that house could sell, potentially upwards of 2.7 million, would have been over market value, but that market and that buyer could have paid it because they're paying cash typically. That house went for 2.5 million. So it was listed for under 2. It sold for 2.5 million, like that, multiple offers. I can't remember how many, but there were multiple offers, right? So there's strategy behind, positioning your house depending on where it is, potentially under market value slightly, so you can drive that value up. In that same example, what if they had listed it for 2.5, or what if they had listed for 2.75? The demand would have gone down, and you wouldn't have seen the activity, and you wouldn't have had that frenzy about the people that were bidding on that property all knew that they were in a competitive situation, so they had to put their best foot forward. So listing high is not necessarily the best answer when it comes to selling your house. And there's some additional reasons which we'll get into here momentarily. Number three, telling your agent that your bottom line is X. You should trust your agent. Right? I mean, we have to have trust to work together successfully throughout this process. So, we want to build that. But giving that away to an agent, telling an agent that, hey, my house is worth $600,000. We think my house could sell for $600,000, but my bottom line is $500,000. I just wouldn't tell your realtor that. Now, I might get some pushback from real estate agents for saying that, but if I'm in your shoes, I'm never telling an agent what my bottom number is. What if something slipped out in conversation in their office, right? You just never know. And so I would not share what your bottom line number is. That's number three. Number four is we have to be out by. To me, this is similar to number three, and it just gives away a little bit of leverage. And I think keeping something like that close to the vest, deadlines are bad, but broadcasting them are even worse. And so that's another one that I would just not tell your real estate agent unless and we've had we've of course had these over the years, unless you are actually in a desperate situation. And unfortunately, we've been in those, a death in the family, a sickness, all kinds of reasons where you got to be out, and telling your agent to be aggressive, like we got to go. Is more appropriate. But typically, I would say 95% of the time, just don't share when you have to be out with your agent. Number 5, we don't want to make repairs, but we want the highest price. Believe it or not, I have gotten this a bunch over the years, and I'll be honest, it drives me crazy. I have never approached my own personal real estate this way. I don't think you should either. If you want top dollar, you're going to have to get the house ready. And I just did a video, and I'll drop it in the description below so you can grab it, on what you should not renovate or fix or repair when you're thinking about selling your home in Richmond, Virginia. And then I also gave some things about some repairs that you should make as well. So I'll link that in the description below. But not making any repairs and also wanting top dollar is just not the answer. And what you're saying to your agent is you're not serious, right? Now, again, there could be a situation where you don't have the money to make repairs. And that's where I think it's appropriate. That's where the trust comes in, and it's a little more appropriate to say to your agent, we've got one of these going on as we speak, and we actually have contractors that will make the repairs needed. And this, by the way, this house is beautiful. It doesn't need a lot, but it needs a little bit of sprucing up. We're going to get our contractors in there, and they're going to do the work, and they're going to get paid out of closing. Okay, so in that scenario, I think it's a little more appropriate to get inside of that trust tree and have that conversation with your agent. But otherwise, don't say to your agent you don't want to make any repairs and you want top dollar. That's just annoying. Number 6, I'll be home for showings so I can explain everything to the buyer. Nobody knows my house the way that I do. That could be true, but don't be that annoying homeowner. Now, there's a caveat to this as well. When we work with our luxury high-end clients, we're there for those showings. Okay, so again, you just want to talk to your agent about if that's their best practice. If you are a luxury seller, then that's the caveat to that. But for most homes, for the average home sale in Central Virginia, you should not be at that showing, because the most important reason for not being there is it's going to make that buyer typically uncomfortable, and they're going to want to get out of the house faster, which is the last thing that you want. So you should not be there, and don't tell your agent that you're going to be there so that you can explain everything, because it's just not going to work out. It's not in your best interest, so don't say that. Number 7, do not tell your agent that, absolutely, do not tell your agent that they are the only one that you are interviewing. Now, I'm going to catch flack from this. I know I am, from real estate agents, and I'm probably going to catch flack from this from my team. But if I'm in your shoes, I am not telling my agent that they're the only one that I'm interviewing, right? It's just, I'm going to tell them that I am interviewing a handful of the top agents in Richmond, Virginia, and I'm going to let you know. Now, it is that agent's job to show you their value proposition, and in some cases, I mean, look, if it's me, we're going to try to close you. That's we're good. We're not only going to try to close you, we're going to try to close buyers, and we're going to try to close buyer agents that we're working with to sell your house. And so you, my opinion, you want somebody that's a little aggressive, but just don't tell them that they're the only one that they're interviewing. You just let them off the hook, in my opinion. Let them go to work for you and fight for your business. So that's number 7. Don't tell them that. Number 8, don't ever tell the agent what you think your house is worth. Again, I will tell you that this is a strategy that is taught in coaching circles. Like, how do you get that out of a seller? How do you get them to say, how do you get a seller to say what they think their house is worth? Now, from an agent's perspective, is it nice to know what you're thinking? Of course it is. Yeah. So, if your house is worth $500,000 and you think it's worth $750,000, then that's a bridge that we have to cross together, or we have to come together on, right? So is it nice to know? Yes. But again, letting that agent do their work, letting them do their market analysis with their unique experience in the market, like, for example, our team served 465 clients last year. So we sold 465 homes in 2025. So we've got a lot of experience that we can apply to pricing homes in Richmond, Virginia. So just don't, you give away some of that competitive advantage. You want your agent to work for you, put their experience to use, put their tools to work. Don't ever tell them what you think your house would sell for. Now, if you're thinking about selling your home and you want a plan for how to sell your home in 2026 in RVA, go to missionrealty.com/YouTube. Go to missionrealty.com/YouTube, and we'll get you some more information about how to successfully position your home to sell it for maximum dollar with the fewest hassles in 2026. And I'll put a link to that in our description below as well. But those are our 8 reasons of what you absolutely should never say to a real estate agent when selling your home in Richmond, Virginia. See you next time.